All right, everybody. I am Andrew Badella. That is Jordan. That is Juice. This is No Dirt, just dialogue. I believe this is episode 9, I believe. Want to thank you all for joining us. We had a busy 2 weeks. We had a busy week last week. We have a busy week this week. Over 10,000 of you have decided to join us more recently, and I appreciate that. So does Jordan. So does Juice. A lot to get into. We're going to get into an AEW review. We're going to get into what everyone's talking about today, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin, which we talked about already, but we'll talk about it again. I'm glad the big outlets finally picked it up. We're going to talk about AJ Styles and what's going on with him. Is he retiring? Is Gunther retiring him at the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia? We'll wait and see. The Rock made some headlines again. Somebody asked him about his dealings with Saudi Arabia and how that's going. And he said it's going very well. Again, something we talked about. We will talk about that again. And we're going to preview Saturday night's main event with myself, Jordan, and Juice. Boys, how the hell are we doing?
Pretty good. Solid snowstorm coming in the next couple of days. So can't wait for that.
I saw that. Our schools are canceled out here due to extreme cold tomorrow. So,
well, I'm a Texan, and Ted Cruz was seen on a plane to California. So that is our.
Is that a lie? Are we doing the whole Ted Cruz bit again?
Oh no! That's not a bit.
Oh, he's gone again.
That is not a bit. Like,
wow.
I don't know, like if it was strategically planned, but like it was legit. I've seen it. He's on a plane. He's not here. So that's all I can say. That's just our nice barometer for, how cold it's going to get. So I'm preparing for my power to go out come Friday.
Well, I mean, I've told this story ad nauseum, but I'll say it again. I was down in Dallas for the Super Bowl. And when you guys got that ice storm, it was like that whole city shut down. I'd never seen anything like that. Obviously, the stadium's in Arlington, so they say Dallas, but it's really not. But I mean, my goodness, it was probably, I just never saw drivers who did not and people who did not understand how to handle precipitation in my life. It was crazy. Crazy.
They get a half inch of snow down there, and it's a state of emergency.
Oh, brother, the cases of water are already gone at the local Walmart. Okay,
really? So, we're still doing this shit.
Yeah, people are they fear
still doing this shit. Everyone grabs the water, the milk, and the bread,
toilet paper.
Right? Toilet paper. Yeah, I mean, like what?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah,
for you, you'd be stacking up on the Just for Men.
Just for Men. Hair gel.
That's correct.
Insane.
For what? The baldiness? The bald?
No.
The gray? Oh, I'm never. Okay.
No, it's for your head, you idiot.
Let's get one thing straight. You will never catch me ever dyeing any part of my beard. It is what it is. Okay.
It looks great. I love
it. You gotta do the Hogan.
Oh, that'd be pretty. The dark on the sides and yeah. I mean the sides. I don't get grays on the sides. It's just here. It's just like this other side. This patch right here. I just it is what it is. I'm getting old. I'm almost 40. So I saw somebody put in the chat, I don't know if the producer can put it up, but something about exploding trees. And yeah, that's a thing for some reason. Pat McAfee talked about it, and yeah, we're at risk of them because it was 41 degrees here about 2 weeks ago, a week ago, and now it's minus 20, and it's going to get down to minus 35. So yeah, I mean, Jordan, it doesn't stop us though. I mean, can't hang out outside.
No.
But,
oh, brother, no.
Here it is. Thank you. Andrew, I heard your areas. Yes, exploding trees. You know what? I obviously can't take this camera outside, but there are 20 to 30 pine trees surrounding my home. So we'll see. I don't. If they explode, they explode. By the way, and see. I don't know. All right, let's get into something that was, no pun intended, exploding. We talked about it, Juice and Jordan. We talked about it, I think 3 weeks ago. I talked about The Rock, another bald man with a decent beard, decided to say that I was full of shit and I had no idea what I was talking about. And then The Rock went on an interview and he didn't flat out say, yeah, I'll be there. But I mean, it was basically tongue in cheek, which, The Rock's on the board. So he's never going to flat out take a public interview until it's announced and say, yeah, I'll be there. But said it without saying it. Everyone's talking about that. Then there's another bald man who's a really nice guy from Texas. Now I believe he's in either Vegas or California, who everybody is talking about wrestling again. It seems like something, again, we talked about 2 weeks ago, but it's fine. Listen, Final Bell Media said I could say this, so I'm going to. They understand fully that they are not a major publication. They're not Fightful. They're not, what's another one? Somebody give me another one.
What culture?
Wrestle purists.
Wrestle purists. What culture? Whatever. They fully understand. Okay, that they're not going to get the traction that that we would. But I mean, we talked about it. I don't know what else you want me to say on it. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock have both been approached, and a lot of people stated there's no way, especially Jonathan Coachman stated there's no way that these discussions are happening internally. They are because you have to understand something, which a lot of the people who work in professional wrestling probably already do. Those who are currently in it, and even those who just got out of it. I got to get some matches that need to happen on this year's Mania, because if next year is going to be kind of like this dream match, WrestleMania Saturday, Sunday, where everything that the fans have always wanted happens because Saudi Arabia wants to pay those buku bucks for them. If I'm going to have The Rock against Roman and I'm going to have Punk versus Austin, then I got to figure out what I'm going to do this year to appease the quote unquote dream casual match fans. And what's that going to look like? I got to take care of a Drew McIntyre who would be absolutely lost. And this is not a knock to Drew, but would absolutely be lost on a card that not only features The Rock and Roman Reigns, but Stone Cold Steve Austin and CM Punk. The same goes for one Cody Rhodes. So I got to take care of Cody this year. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Royal Rumble. We'll talk about Saturday night's main event. We're going to talk about it all, but I want to stay there. And I want to ask you guys, I mean, never wrong, just early. I'll say that. What do you guys make of this? I believe it was WrestleVotes said that Stone Cold Steve Austin has been approached by WWE. They don't know if it's for this or next.
Quoted for an appearance.
Right. Steve Austin's going to be a part of WrestleMania. It's in his backyard again. I mean, that would make perfect sense. So,
but he has to make amends with that lady in the first row.
Right. But I mean, I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't know if both of them do wrestle at WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, but the Saudis are going to offer everybody who is a major, major draw a chance to wrestle and have this dream matches on their WrestleMania, because I don't know how many WrestleMania Saudi's going to get. I see a lot of people talking about, they'll have the next 5 there. That's not going to happen. Okay. The money's long. Don't get me wrong, but they have to have a change of scenery and change of pace. And they also just don't want to alienate that event to Saudi Arabia.
I want to ask you a question real quick, Drew. I had this speculation right before they made the Saudi announcement, and then I saw someone else, I believe it was like the WrestleCon Twitter, put out something akin to this as well. Hey, Pittsburgh, I'm familiar with that town. Is there a outside shot that there's another WrestleMania in North America in 2027 so that they don't feel neglected that there's only one in Saudi Arabia? WrestleCon put out a tweet saying like, hey, don't worry, we might be doing something, because who's to say there's not another night of Mania? And I had speculated maybe they're going to announce one night here, one night out there. But like, is that a thing? It's too far out to where they would have announced it or anything. But
here's what I'll say to that. If I'm paying what I'm paying to bring WrestleMania to Saudi Arabia, and you're going to split it with somebody else, and my WrestleMania card is going to have The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin on it, I can't see it. I really can't, especially when Saturday, if this is just me fantasy booking. This is not like what they're going to do. I would have Steve Austin probably main event Saturday night and The Rock main event Sunday. So I can't see it. I can't, not to say that we're not headed towards that eventually. I could absolutely see where one is in an overseas location and one is in the States. Yes. But I think that WrestleCon could easily attach themselves to another WrestleMania-esque like event, not named SummerSlam, because they already do that. I think you could see that WrestlePalooza, because the board members had talked about this, be something where they really go out of the norm with matches and really make that something where it is a high profile stadium-esque show, or maybe you get a WrestlePalooza at Madison Square Garden, which we had talked about, where it's a big city, a building they don't normally bring a WrestleMania to because WrestleMania has outgrown the arenas, that type of stuff. But to see a 2-night, to have a long answer be long, a 2-night WrestleMania where one's in Saudi and they're paying these boatloads of money just to have the event and to bring over some of these Attitude Era biggest draws of all time, et cetera, stars, and then you're going to have it one of the nights in the States. Nah, I can't see it. The viewing parties will be nuts, though, Juice.
Right. And we also talked about how AEW should capitalize on the nights that are free in the United States to put on some sort of mega show, whether that is, whatever pay-per-view they want to put on in April or not. Why not? I don't see why they wouldn't take advantage of that, especially considering the Saudi WrestleMania will be, as the Royal Rumble, probably starting at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast. So as soon as that finishes up, 6, 7 o'clock, you can get your other shows started. I don't know if it's Dynasty, if you want to do that. That's what they have in the April slot as is, but I think they should capitalize on that. And I think a lot of independent promoters and promotions will do that to satiate those that won't go to Saudi Arabia.
Sure. And again, if I'm Tony, if I'm AEW, I've actually talked to Tony Khan about this. He said that it's something they're thinking about doing. It's something that they're thinking about running, which would be a big event that they could have the WrestleCon or all these other independent promotions kind of take part during WrestleMania so they don't lose that source of revenue in terms of the independent promotion. I think it would be smart to have it in Jacksonville. I don't believe their stadium would be done by then, but at the end of the day, I know Everbank Stadium is going to be wide open because it's April, and Daly's Place could host the independent events, a couple of them, and it's a win-win for Tony because that building, both of them are free. They're gratis, besides having to pay people to come in to like usher and take tickets and concessions and all that other stuff. But I could easily see these viewing parties for WrestleMania becoming something that would be absolutely nuts. Cosm's got them across the, different parts of the country here in the United States. And
they're about to go to Cleveland here soon.
Yeah. And it's a great spot. I watched last year's Royal Rumble at the Cosm. I felt like I was ringside. Then you get the entrances and you're literally right on top of everything. It was a great experience. If you could go. Actually, there were Austin Theory and Grayson Waller were with us at that show.
They have one here. Okay.
I went to the one in Dallas. I was there last year.
Okay. Yeah. So it's worth it.
It's worth it. I will tell you, you want to get one of those front seatings that they have.
I was thinking about doing the Rumble there.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do the Rumble.
They have the Rumble. Yep, they have the Rumble this year. I was invited. I want to thank the people at the Cosm. I'm going to stay home with my son this year and watch it. He was very much bummed out last year that I was at the Cosm and he wasn't, and I get it.
Great.
He started to get. Well, I only was invited. I could bring them, but they were at capacity. I mean, they're pretty much close to being sold out anyway. But and I went with Blake Mitchmore. So it was a good time. But great anyways, guy. Yeah. It's just, again, the viewing parties are something I think that for that year's WrestleMania next year is going to be out of control. So see what happens.
Cool.
Okay. that clears that up.
Well, to your to the original kind of prompt about the ball gentleman, I don't know honestly what to make of it. First off, shout out to it's funny, Andrew. We were having we had a phone call yesterday, and we were talking about how you have been a bit Nostradamus, again, never wrong, just early sometimes. And so this is things that you have talked about, and I don't really know what to make of it, because I don't really want to see the Stone Cold wrestle personally. I don't care in what, an appearance would be great, but I don't care to see him trot out and do a stunner on somebody.
You don't want to see a CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match?
Absolutely not.
So did you not enjoy Steve Austin and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania?
Kevin Owens, barely. I just because I am getting tired of the spoon-fed nostalgia. when it comes to WWE. And that's just me personally. Like when I say spoon-fed nostalgia is great when it's like organic, when it's just like, oh man, you know, anniversaries, when you just so happen to like bringing in, you know, because it's the Saudi and, you know, so bringing in Stone Cold just to make it the biggest doesn't, you know, let's Stone Cold come back naturally, you know, like to bring him what him and CM Punk for what? Like what like to quote 2014 CM Punk.
For a major payday for Steve and for it'll appeal.
Yeah, but that's not what I think. What he's saying is we know why it's going to happen.
We know why it's going to happen.
We don't want it to just be, well, the clock turns to 2027. Oh, by the way, CM Punk and Steve Austin are going to wrestle at WrestleMania.
Because
what way are they going to? How are they going to implement Steve Austin?
Everybody said the same thing about Austin and Owens too. Everyone was like, "How are they going to do this?" Steve didn't even show up on television. Blah 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 blah. And I will tell you, when that glass broke, that place went bananas.
Sure, like here, and that's the thing about nostalgia. It's a guaranteed pop. A cash cow is called a cash cow because I can continuously get cash from it. But there's still a negative stigma and or stereotype tied to being.
I'll flip it to you, Jordan. I hear you, and I understand it's not your cup of tea, and that's what makes the world go round. This is at fault, in my opinion, on the industry as a whole, but more so WWE. What major draws are currently in professional wrestling? I'm talking major draws, because who's over right now besides Cody?
We talked about it. The last kind of desperado to leave was then John Cena. You know, right? That was the last one.
He's
gone.
Know, so I'm with you.
Now.
I'm with you. John is a major draw. Brock was a major draw. I think they've squeezed everything
here soon.
Yeah, I think they've squeezed every red hot nickel they could out of Brock Lesnar in every storyline. And the fans, truthfully, I know Brock is a menacing, imposing figure, and he brings a sense of realism to professional wrestling where it's like, holy shit, this guy can beat the shit out of you. But I just don't think the fans care anymore, truthfully. Taker's gone. Cody is the only one right now where I could see where my son's like, I gotta see it. Punk, yeah, but Punk's on his way out as well eventually. I mean, you got, and this is a prediction. I don't know this. I think you probably got 2 more active years of Punk, 2 full more active years.
This is like a rebuilding time. Let's relay it to football, where you got to reload your roster, and it's a lot of younger guys that are going to take the helm. And Cody's not a young guy by any means, but in the pantheon of WWE, he's only been at the top for what, 4 or 5 years now.
And Roman's
this is what you're going to have. Yeah, Roman, you're going to have to roll with these guys and just not I guess force feed it, for lack of a better term, but just show these guys
but that's it. I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem as the industry goes on and on and on. And it's not I understand what you're saying, Jordan. I wanted to see this match 13 years ago. I wanted to see this match 10 years ago. I'm with you, dude. But if the match happens, you bet your ass I'm going to be seated, because I definitely want to see. I'm not going to sit back and tell you I don't want to see it, or it's not something that I care to see, because it's a lie, because I do want to see it. Okay. And I do want to see The Rock and Roman, but I think right now, who the hell is over? And it's a problem across the board. Who is over? Roman, Cody, that's it.
Because that's your top stars that are organically pushed. It's just a lot of young crop of talent right now. They can't really lay on the nostalgia.
But let's go back 10 years ago. John Cena, Randy Orton, those guys came in how many years ago?
20.
How many years ago? I mean, okay, so in the past 10 years, who the F is over besides guys that were made 10 years ago?
But that's their problem.
Rhea.
Like you said, that's
Becky
their problem.
Was over too.
When you're too over reliant at the top of your card and you're not fostering the middle and bottom of your card, again, you literally build a house of cards. And it becomes very weak.
I agree with Jordan on that, because just in this aspect, how many times have we seen over the last 5 years Roman versus Brock, when if they could have had a younger guy against either of those guys throughout those years, maybe a Roman Brock match in 2026 would have been something big. But we did it to death whenever they were just relying on it, and now it's
I want to touch on this. Hold on a second. I want to touch on this. Rhea Ripley does get fantastic ovations, and Austin Pop is
Wait,
Well, but an Austin Pop is great, but does she draw like Austin? No.
I think Rhea is probably one of these people who we could kind of put into that conversation of like people are paying to see, just like
For
Becky.
sure.
At a certain point, Becky was very much over the man gimmick, everything. Everybody was paying to see her. I shouldn't say everybody, but people were paying to see her. The Austin Pop stuff from Rhea, I mean, there are very few and far in between. I mean, I will tell you that I think Rhea gets those Kane, when Kane returned that one night on Raw with Paul Bearer. I'll give Rhea those pops. Sure. But I mean, the Austin Pops, the Rock Pops, they're few and far in between. And for those wondering, maybe if you're a child, a young adult, don't know what we mean by pop, because I hate talking that like wrestling carny lingo. It's a reaction, a loud one from a crowd. Okay. So
I would rather, wouldn't you rather see, and this, I'll just throw this in the Pantheon. Wouldn't you rather see Trick Williams, CM Punk?
I'd like to see a lot of those guys, but you can't, by next year, maybe if Trick is built up to that point, but do you have faith that they will build Trick, Braun Breaker, Obafemi enough to where people at a mass level want to see that, not just people like us that are going to tune in anyway? That's what I don't have faith in.
That's the thing. Like, you have a company, because I got into an argument. It wasn't an argument. It was kind of like a back and forth. I won't call it an argument, but I got into a conversation with people online yesterday on X, go figure, about how AEW has to be different, and they are different. But at the end of the day, AEW was making the same mistakes that separated them from being different. And it wasn't the fucking GM. Okay. It wasn't the GM role that Christopher Daniels had. It was everybody who was on top in AEW was not different from WWE, because they were former WWE guys or girls. Okay.
It's very tough to be 1,000% exactly different than anybody. There's tropes in wrestling for a reason. Who cares if AEW were to get a GM?
If you want to be different, then be different. AEW is very different.
Very different.
They give you wrestling, okay, which a lot of you guys and girls clamor for, and I get it. You have that's what you like. You don't really give a damn about the entertainment side of it, and that's a beautiful thing. There's two different companies, just like Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. You'd rather have the wrestling than the bullshit entertainment and the backstage, stupidity and everything else like that. I remember people going nuts when Jericho and MJF did their thing. They're like, this is so WWE, it hurts.
But it was so good. It was so well done.
Well, you have to... You gotta have a balance. You gotta have a balance.
And if AEW wants to get to a level that people take them even more seriously, you're gonna have to sprinkle in some sports entertainment, because that's what wrestling is in general. At some point, even the sickos will go, all right, I've seen this enough with how many matches or hardcore stuff or whatever. Like, you're gonna have to get a little different in your own way. And it's not a bad thing to have similar things that WWE had, considering your first
$1 billion company.
Your first, one. That's a good thing to be chasing after. And your first champion was a former WWE guy. Like the standing on these hills and just taking the shrapnel is unnecessary.
And I've said this before, and I truly mean it. A lot of fans didn't want WWE to get better. They didn't. A lot of fans just wanted an alternative. They got it. They didn't care. They just wanted an alternative. So they did it. Triple H, for all the shit that he's been given more recently, has teetered back towards a more professional wrestling with Gunther, AJ, Punk in main events going 20 to 30 minutes, where it's very reminiscent of an old school Bret Hart match, where Vince McMahon built his company originally off the back of entertainment with Hulk Hogan and everything else like that, and then had to turn away from it because of the steroid stuff and focused on professional wrestling. And Triple H is turning back a little bit into that. It's not fully there. But I mean, again, people didn't want AEW to exist. They didn't. They solely wanted WWE to change the way that they were doing things. And I mean that. I get it. You guys and girls hate everything WWE does. That's fine. It doesn't make any sense, though. It doesn't.
Don't you mean the Fed?
Yeah, that's another thing. And somebody was like, Dustin Rhodes referred to it. Well, yeah, you jackass. Dustin Rhodes is in the wrestling industry.
And worked when it was the World Wrestling Federation.
Since the 80s and the 90s. Like, what are we talking about? The online fans calling it the Fed. When did you get a check from WWE?
It's a derogatory word to make fun of what they do. I don't know.
Hey. If we're gonna go there, that also means the numbers talk also has to end as well. This whole, like, to quote Kevin Durant's greatest tweet ever, who the fuck wants to pull out charts and graphs when having a hoop convo? If we're talking about wrestling, if we're talking about wrestling and what you like or dislike, and I understand there's a business aspect to things, but I don't think that should be used as a barometer for what is good or not good.
I just think there's a giant disconnect. I don't mind. Like, people could say whatever the hell they want. I'm not going to police it. But I think fans calling wrestlers by their actual name,
their shoot names.
Yeah, like crazy. You know crazy. This person? You know this person? I talk to wrestlers, both active, and I talk to agents on the phone, okay? In both companies, okay? I never call them by their real name unless we're on that type of level and they're like, hey, bro, don't call, like, come on, me and you are Pat. Okay, cool. But I'm not like, and then this is just an example. I don't talk to The Undertaker, but I'm not like, hey, Mark, what's going on? Every time I've ever met Mark and introduced myself to The Undertaker, it's The Undertaker. Hi, very nice to meet you, Taker. I don't even call him Take because I don't know people like that. That's an industry nickname. So for you to sit back and be like, the Fed, what's another one I see all the time?
Well, wait a second. Hold on, Drew. Again, it's a two-pronged thing. It's the Fed because it used to be called the World Wrestling Federation, but it's a derogatory term that for people that don't like WWE because the Fed has a connotation of being the Feds and people that are like negative and are always out to just like take everything for themselves. And I get it, but
and it's like people like it's an easier thing to say than WWE. What? The Fed, WWE, it's the same shit, guys. I don't.
It's the same thing about how just to gotta be fair. The term sickos is used derogatory as well.
Yes, but that's a term given to fans of AEW by AEW, and they passionately call themselves, like Tony Khan says, for the sickos in a good way. Nobody in WWE says the Fed, other than people that don't like WWE.
To state this. Yeah, right. I want to state this on the ratings thing, right? This was never a thing before the two people who finally reached a quote unquote mountaintop brought it to light. Eric Bischoff beat WWE for 83 weeks and made the ratings talk a big deal. Then Tony Khan and Chris Jericho started talking about the demo and the ratings when they were beating NXT.
The old demo, God.
This was never a thing until people who were beating the quote unquote Fed, the WWE, made it a thing. That's it. I never talked about ratings. I didn't give a shit if I liked the product or I didn't like the product.
I watched Nitro and I taped Raw. Right. If I watched.
And if somebody asked me, hey, would you invest your time or money into this programming? Then that's something I'm going to look at the ratings and be like, okay, what's the demo? How many viewership? What are they drawing? Does this fit my product? Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I don't do that for a living. So if Raw does 3 million views and Nitro did 19 million views, I wouldn't automatically be like, yo, Nitro's a better show. 9 times out of 10, Nitro was hot garbage. Sorry, Juice. It was, in my opinion.
Well, 99 and 2000, yeah, but 97, 98, it was hot TV.
Just
you weren't watching it actively. I don't want to hear it.
Right.
You're watching Raw more.
That's accurate. I would have it on.
Yeah, 97, the end of 97, yes. But
so I watched WCW in 96. I'd have the 2 TVs. My dad was awesome. He got me a second television and we did the splitter and I had them both on and stuff like that. So I watched it. My dad did not watch professional wrestling, but so I mean I watched it, but I was more in tune with Monday Night Raw. But I will say, not Monday Night Nitro. But I will say that if I like the show, I like the show. I didn't look at the ratings and be like, man, that's something that's a better show. I just don't get that.
Well, see, it's funny you even say that because when I had Conrad on the Juice Box, he said, hey, when I was watching The Sopranos, I never cared about the ratings. Was it a
Right.
good show or was it not a good show?
Right.
How hard is that?
But wrestling fans need to find a win or a loss.
Exactly.
it's like, all right.
That is it. Someone wants to be on a team. Someone wants to
Yeah.
win. They hate losing.
And it's like I don't understand it because it's scripted entertainment. And if you don't like something, it's okay to say you don't like it. I thought last night's Dynamite was very good. I thought it was digestible. I was watching it, it flowed, and I was like, all right, I could get into the show. It kept me captivated. They had a purpose. They stuck to it. Last week's was garbage. It is what it is. I mean, it's week to week. So I didn't like every episode of Landman. I didn't like every episode of Tulsa King, but I watched them all. And I thought to myself, all right, this is a good one. This is okay. This is great. This wasn't.
Especially with wrestling, those shows end at some point. Wrestling never ends. So there's always next week. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get worse.
And I never understood the whole conversation of like Raw did. Like, even when people talk about the Netflix numbers, what the fuck do you care? Do you like the show or not?
Yeah, that's because at the end of the day, like, parting your time is one thing, but like if you're not going to part your dollars, know, and invest or anything like that,
unless you're not in the game, why does it matter?
Why does it matter to you?
It's a topical point. I get it, but like the way that these people will just live and die on those hills.
I can see using it as a reference to, well, these stories haven't been great. Maybe that's why the ratings are down. That's one thing, but that's not like, well, look how terrible the ratings are. Okay, well, maybe football was on every time that happened. Like, what are we talking about?
Juice, that's constructive criticism.
I agree.
All right, this storyline, in my opinion, is garbage. And now you could look at the ratings and you're like, these ratings reflect that. Fine. But to just use them as wins and losses drives me nuts. Oh, Raw was better than Dynamite because they outdrew them by 300,000 people. Or
they will always
maybe they're on a bigger platform. You goofballs.
Well, and that's the thing about it, because then you'll ask, okay, well, what did you think? Oh, it was better. So what did you think? Oh, well, I didn't really like it. So then why are you using this number and this metric then?
What didn't you like about it? You're just saying the numbers that are a fact instead of using your opinion on what you watched or probably didn't watch. You're just saying you didn't like it because you don't like the company.
Well, it's lack of critical thinking. It's lack of critical thinking. It's instead of saying, well, hey, look, I know this is on a bigger platform. There's a bigger chance for people to watch this, so on and so forth, whatever. But I personally didn't like it. For example, I know this is a tried and true example that has been said before, but like McDonald's has been served by billions of people, right? But you've had a better burger in your life.
100%. McDonald's sucks unless I'm in a pinch and I absolutely need something. And sorry, McDonald's, it's the truth. Your burgers are, in my opinion, not better than Wendy's. They're not better than Five Guys. They're not better than any of that shit, in my opinion. What you do well is the snack wrap. I enjoy the snack wrap every once in a while.
I'm so glad they brought him back.
But I mean, at the end of the day, that's like liking one segment on a wrestling show. It is what it is. It's okay.
It's a buffet. Yeah, it's allowed.
I'll just never understand it. I never understood it then. I don't understand it now. And you know what? If it works for you, it works for you. If we have to have a conversation about business, then obviously the business side of things, you're going to want to do well in ratings. I get that. But we're talking about what we liked and what we didn't like in terms of storyline progression. It's all subjective. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's really weird to just, buy a green screen, get on your computer and yell about numbers about a show that you watch.
It's also
says the only guy of the three that is using a green screen.
It's very strange
too. There's other guys who do it.
I know.
I'm just saying it's very strange to me to watch somebody or somebody's or whatever. They say that it's an open and honest show. It's an honest platform. They give fair critique. And 50 out of the 52 weeks, they say the shit sucks. That's impossible, dude. It's impossible that you didn't like at least 25% of their shows. Like, if that's the case, then stop watching. And don't tell me you do it because your fans love it. If your fans love to hate, that's what this is. That's what it is.
Your fans love to watch you shit on a product that you were never going to give props to in the first place.
Not to mention 95% of these people.
And it plays to their narrative.
And when they're face to face with these executives or these vice presidents or these owners, they would tuck their tail. They would tuck their tail. And I'm not sitting. This is not who you all think this is about.
Here we go.
I'm talking about everybody in general. There are grifters who literally make a living off of it, and God bless them. It's whatever they got to do. But it's impossible. You're watching this going into it, saying this show sucks. So you're nitpicking every fucking thing that happens. You're going to find it negative. Good luck being married, going into something, or any sort of relationship, going into something where you're like, she doesn't have double D's. She doesn't have a bubble butt. She doesn't clean. She doesn't cook. I don't know what's going to happen. She doesn't provide a good living. She doesn't make over $150,000.
Good luck being alone for the rest of your life then.
I mean, because you're just negative about everything. You're going into this with the connotation of she doesn't do this. She doesn't do that. They don't do this. They don't do that. He doesn't do that. It's over, dude. You're going to find negative. Stop.
Well, they're looking for negative also, Drew. That's the thing. None of those people that you're referring to seem to have a positive bone in their body, and it's astonishing that they can garner the attention that they do whenever it's, well, I hate everything. Okay, but like, why do people want to see what people hate? Like, what or don't we like wrestling? I thought that's what we were about here.
Nobody hates wrestling more than wrestling fans, but I mean, the other thing I will never understand is like why. Like I saw the Moose stuff, the Moose back and forth. I believe it was with JD. And I thought to myself, Moose has a point in terms of like when we get these content creators out there and they say, they should have done the finish this way. Dude, shut the fuck up. Shut up. You have no idea what goes into match psychology. You have no idea what goes into elevating a crowd, bringing them back down, because I've never done it. You have no idea what goes into writing a show and making sure that these people are on because the shareholders want this and all this. You have no idea. So stop. You want to say that this match or this feud didn't work for me? Fine. That's okay. Moose was dead wrong with that. Dead wrong. Because you are allowed. You go to the movie, you like the movie, you don't like the movie. But for the people who sit back and critique the speed of a match or the moves that they made, you can miss me with that shit.
I think I got to push back just a wee bit because I understand where Moose is coming from. Moose is kind of coming from that athletic mindset of like, because again, shout out, second time I mentioned him today, Kevin Durant, where he's against the media in the sense of, look, if you haven't done this, you can't speak on this in a certain fashion. And I do agree with him because there are a lot of people, a lot of armchair quarterbacks, a lot of Twitter finger people who like to critique, with a certain tone and tenor about themselves where they think they are better than thou in their critiques about wrestling or particular wrestling.
Or that they know more. I'm with you, Jordan. I'm with you 100%.
I can say I don't like something, but I can't sit here and say, "Oh, Moose is he's terrible. Oh, his bumps are." I can't sit there and say that.
All right, but hold on a second. So the three of us could sit here and talk football all day long, and we can have a show about it. I know Juice likes football. I know you like football. You're going to tell me what the Cowboys need. He's going to tell me what the Steelers need. I'm going to talk to you about what the Jets need to do. But at the end of the day, are we people that should be taken seriously because 2 out of 3 of us have never put shoulder pads and a helmet on at a high level?
No, but it's for entertainment purposes, and I think people should understand that.
Last time they won, baby.
There you go. That's probably a very collectible item.
And they won. It was my 3rd birthday when the Cowboys last won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was negative. I was negative 26, 27 when the Jets won a Super Bowl. Yeah. No.
God.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Anyways, at the end of the day, like I said, you can have the Jets need this, the Jets need that. I think AEW should get this person. WWE would be better suited with this person. Maybe they'll be better creative for him. That I'm with. You don't have to like something. You don't have to agree with everything.
Also, how you say it though, too. It's like I can critique AEW all I want, but when it becomes like, I don't understand why Tony Khan gets this or Tony Khan does that, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. AKA, I'm jealous that he has money and has the platform to make these decisions.
when
and
I
I'm
start
some mark
accusing
behind a
Tony Khan-
microphone that doesn't have the money to make
Yeah,
those
and
decisions.
that's another thing that Juice, you brought up a good point. I think a lot of these podcasters, and I've said this before, and some of them do fantastic work. A lot of them do fantastic work. But the thing that always like grinds my gears, to steal a line from Peter Griffin, is I don't know if it's Peter Griffin. I think it is.
It is.
But
No, it's
yeah.
good.
That they if Tony Khan was 6'6", jacked, and was a former world champion 10 times over, they wouldn't say shit. They wouldn't say shit. And a lot of people are like, don't get me. I critique the nose. I critique Triple H. I do. And it's like, brother, enough. You're
not accusing this guy of being a drug addict every chance you
or you're
get.
not. Yeah, and the other thing, it's like, I could do, if I had Tony's money, I think go make Tony's money, or go be born to a family that has money. I don't know what to tell you, but I mean, like, it's just this whole like negative connotation. You're never gonna have it because all you do is sit and wallow in this bullshit. Just move on. Move on.
And again, it's the I don't like it, therefore it is bad. No. Drew's just like he lives in Minnesota. It doesn't mean
I live in this tundra.
The frozen tundra.
All right, Juice, I'll go to you first. What do you want to talk about? We talked about The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Sure,
I'm glad all the outlets are picking it up. God bless them all. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. I think Rock's wrestling at WrestleMania. The Steve Austin thing is going to be very interesting because Juice and Jordan, you would know, I don't believe we've seen Steve Austin and The Rock on the same card or even the same WrestleMania appearance-wise in a very long time. When Rock's on it, Steve's kind of away from it.
I think, right? 32? Because that was The Rock or the Dallas, and The Rock did the fire thing, and then Austin came out with Foley.
Normally and that's 10 years ago. Normally they try, and if The Rock's going to be on it, and I believe that's a friendship thing. I don't think that's them being like, I don't want to be on it because you're on it. I think they're going to let him have his moment. It's his mania. I'll do something else. But the time is ticking, and the numbers and the money is long from Saudi.
Right. And that was my first WrestleMania, so that was pretty cool to see both those gentlemen, be a part of that. So, you're passing the buck to me. I have quite a few little things, so we can kind of dance around. Sure. Whatever we touch on. What'd you guys think of TNA on AMC, the first episode? and then I will say, because it's already sounding like we all hated it, Genesis was like pretty good, and I was like, why didn't they set this pay-per-view up with something good? Because the pay-per-view was good. It was bizarre. Now we got TNA tonight again. We saw the ratings for the first episode, and I know that we just said how that's a thing, but I'm curious to see if the same people from the first week watch it the second week. Drew, you're shaking your head.
All right, so I will say this: I thought the TNA show was bad.
The TV first episode of Impact on AMC.
Yep, on AMC was real bad. I don't give a shit about the number. The TV executives should,
and they apparently thought it was good. They were excited with what the show did. That I read, the execs were happy with it, which is fine.
If you're excited by what that mediocrity was on the TV, then fine, so be it. Everybody was sitting back with high hopes, myself included. That
we were all stoked about it.
Yeah, and I want to preface that this is not on the talent at all. The talent is able; they're only given what they're given, and they got to go out and do it. I thought Santana and Kazarian had a good match. I thought the best part of the show was not even on the godforsaken show, which was Nick Nemeth coming out afterwards, which was, the style thing was cool, but I mean, like, what a miss. I had high hopes for TNA. I wish them and their stars nothing but the best, especially AJ Francis and all those boys and girls. But I will tell you that the show was a cluster. It was all over the place. It made me not want to buy the pay-per-view, which I didn't. And it's not like I wasn't going to. If that show had anything captivating or pulled me, I would have bought that pay-per-view on Sunday because there's not a lot going on. Or was it Saturday? Was it Saturday night?
Yeah.
Or was it Sunday?
And it was Saturday. And Drew, you've done that before where you're like, hey, you want to buy this GCW show at Hammerstein or whatever? Like, you've been known to kind of be like, hey, this is interesting and worth my time, worth my money. Let's do it.
I bought that GCW at the Hammerstein show, and I said never again, and that was it. It was okay, but I was like, nope, never again. And I think it was cheap enough. It was the World versus GCW, whatever the hell it was.
On
I don't remember.
It was very.
I gave it a chance. It was at Hammerstein. I'm a sucker for that venue. I gave it a shot. It was terrible. This was terrible. It made me. There was nothing that I was sitting back where I was like, all right, I need to watch the pay-per-view or buy the pay-per-view. And there was nothing that pulled me into this coming today's episode. I thought the show was lackluster. I thought outside of AJ and the main event, it was hot garbage. And that's not a knock to the wrestlers. The wrestling wasn't bad. It was just the formatting and everything else. It felt like they tried to fit 50 pounds in a 5-pound bag. It was bad. Bad.
I mean, they had AJ Styles doing what he does best in a pro wrestling ring. Cut a promo.
Got a promo. That's what we.
I don't know. Maybe the TNA executives got mad at us. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're still here.
Yeah. AJ Styles did what he does best in a pro wrestling ring. Cut a promo. Now I know they might not have been able to do anything with him yet, but what I found issue with couple things. The production was horrific. They kept showing celebrities, content creators. All that's great, but behind them were a lot of empty seats, and you didn't have to shoot it that way. You could have put them in with a lot of the other fans and made it look more filled. They shot an angle after the episode went off the air, which was a miss. And like, I just don't get how you can have this lined up for how long and you have these same type of issues. And the other thing was AJ Styles was in the back looking at the TNA World title as if maybe I'm interested in going after whoever has this next. And it doesn't end up playing out at all. He doesn't show up or anything. Now, when we talk about the Rumble and him and Gunther, that could lead to that. But without that, it's like nothing was paid off.
It seems as if we got some breaking news here as well. They're in New Mexico tonight. Is that accurate?
I believe Albuquerque, if I'm not mistaken, Feast or Fired.
There's ongoing visa issues, and they have not been resolved as well. So, I mean, like, it just seems...
Wow.
I want to talk about that.
Yep, and you can have the floor right after this. You can talk about the visa issues, whatever you want. The production was terrible, and I was trying to be as nice as I possibly could. It was absolutely awful. I felt like I was watching an independent show, and I shouldn't. They're on AMC. The Hardys... Love them. They did great work in that 6-man tag. But again, the production was terrible. And I need this. They are competition to AEW to finally just stop, because AEW looks like, they looked like light years ahead of TNA. And that's just me. And WWE's production is in a different stratosphere than AEW.
It's almost too polished. We've said to where it looks almost like nothing could ever go wrong, when you kind of want a little bit of an edge to, well, this is live. But yeah, right. TNA kind of fell short there. So,
and that report comes from Mike Johnson about the continuing visa issues. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Like, I want to be fair in our assessments of TNA. They had a lot of visa issues, talent leaving and whatnot. So they're not playing with the full 52 cards. I think that's fair to say. But let's also be real here. We're all adults here. We've all worked for major companies probably before. And we know that when it comes to ranging travel and things like that, a company should be doing that weeks and or months ahead, especially when it comes to visa things. So if you are indeed having visa issues outside of, major things, these are things that should be taken care of, is what I'm trying to get at. Especially when
Jordan,
it comes to...
Let's ask you this question, because you're talking about this, and I'm in full agreement with you. Like, if you're going to run the quote unquote competition to the number 2 company in the world, this stuff should be figured out. So the executives from AMC were telling people, this has been reported, not by myself, that they believe that TNA would do AEW numbers or very slightly under them. They're not even effing close.
And we had suggested even getting half of what AEW would get would be a success.
Yeah. And
I get even close to that.
This show could have done 700,000 viewers, and I still would have told you it was the drizzle and shits, because it was. Go ahead, Jordan.
To quote one of my old football coaches, stop reading the goddamn news clippings. And that's what's happened. They've read they're in the niche, weeds of the IWC and this idea, because there's a let's just keep it a buck. And I hate to be the AEW guy, whatever. I'm already labeled as that, shout out to Tony, whatever, but there is a propaganda of anything and everything AEW is bad. So people have now all of a sudden propping up TNA to be all of a sudden competition to AEW, when, by the way, in 2019, this conversation wasn't happening. TNA was around and so was AEW, but whatever. And oh, by the way, TNA is on their seventh TV deal, and they're supposed to be competition to someone who's on their second. They should, of course, they should be competition, but that's the thing, they should be doing better than.
And they should be competing. Yeah. And it's not a knock on TNA. They've been around forever, and props to them for never folding. When how many times have I been on numerous shows throughout my life saying, multiple, like within a 5-year period here, 5-year period there, we're like, oh, looks like TNA might get sold again, but it never happened. They still
never
are around.
But that's the thing though, because they're around, when they finally get to AMC, a somewhat bigger network than their previous 6, hey, I've been in that arena before. That's the hard cam side. Hey, we know we're not going to fill up the hard cam side. Let's just put these people, these guys and gals, let's put them over here. Let's put them over here. These are things that should be thought of and taken care of, but for whatever reason they haven't. Oh,
yeah. If there's formula, if there's purpose, I'm watching and I'm hooked. The AJ Styles thing was a nice thing in the beginning, and I was like, okay, where's this going to lead?
But he looked at the title, different than what he did with Leon Slater.
But he looked at the title. He looked at the title, which maybe could be some foreshadowing, and I thought to myself, okay, they didn't even pick up on that at the end of the night. We're going to talk about Styles as we get closer and closer. Maybe he has a run in TNA and then calls it quits. I don't know. We'll talk about that, but I'm with you, Jordan. It just, to me, there was no purpose, and I don't care what numbers they did. I don't. They could have gotten 700, 800, 900,000. They could have gotten 1 million. I don't care. What I watched on Thursday was something that I thought to myself, I don't care to watch this again, and nothing hooked me. Nothing.
I expect those things and shortcomings from a company that is 6 years old, going on 7 years old, who got their second TV deal, you know what I'm saying, who's very ambitious in their booking and their style of wrestling. I would expect those things that TNA incurred with a company like that. But what we saw last week with the camera angles, what felt like stalling, because again, like you said, and I will say this, the quality of wrestling was there.
Sure.
I'm not saying the wrestling was bad. 100%. Some of the storylines I'm not really sunken into, but I think that's a overarching TNA thing. And
you could say they made chicken salad out of chicken, but at the end of the day, this was your debut. You got to figure this cannot happen.
You got to do better.
You got to be prepared when you're a company for over 20 years.
Yeah, you get one shot to make. You get one shot to make a first impression. TNA has had a lot of shots. A lot.
Because what on earth would make you bring out Dixie Carter?
When you already just established a new figurehead
we're away from
you really
look at our former owner.
Yeah. Here comes our former owner, who we were possibly going. Like, do you think the fan base is going to be like, "Hey, no, that's not no"?
And these last 2 points I'll make. They had more video packages than they had matches, which I get. Set up for your casual audience that doesn't know, but like, you got to have something else better than just doing those things. This is your first show ever. This is your first show on a new network. Act as if, this is a new start, but we've been doing this. You're in current storylines, not the history of TNA. We don't need to see that.
The move, I'm old enough to remember the move from Raw going to TNN to US. Yeah. Well, from USA to TNN and then TNN back to USA. It was nothing changed. Like, a little bit of presentation, commercials change and whatnot. It was nothing. TNA at this point, it should be nothing. You've been running and working for a long time. This is not the first time you've been in Texas. This is not the first time you've been on TV. This is not the first time you've had celebrities brought in.
Yeah.
right? That other side of the arena, if you've ever been to that arena, I love that arena. Please, AEW, come back. It's they always fill that one side. All you have to do is put them guys there. That's it. That's all you have to do.
And again, like we said, enough with people trying to say that TNA is anywhere close to a number 2, or even comparing them to AEW, when in fact TNA should be compared to the company they have been working directly with, which is NXT. That brand is closer to TNA than AEW is, and it's not even then. NXT is such a more polished production because it's run by WWE. But
I would rather
scope of
things, I would watch NXT 10 times out of 10
every time. And by the way, again, not a knock on the roster. It's the people running it. It's the creative. There's production issues. There's a lot going on that's not the roster.
Let me make this clear for the 1,000th time. I have no issue, none, with the wrestling that took place on the show. There was just
2 matches.
No purpose.
Go ahead, George. But to Juice, what you said, Creed and whatnot, again, it didn't. My issue with TNA right now is even with this partnership, it feels like they're only doing things to spite instead of exist and thrive. And like a few years ago,
doing your own thing and ignoring everybody else. Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we trying? Like, it feels like we brought in Joe Hendry for what? I understand it's a nice, okay, cool. We need a replacement, but like, for what? You know, you brought up Leon Slater to the main. It looks like he's about to leave you. So like, it's just
What did Joe Hendry do on the pay-per-view that's going to bleed into weekly television? Nothing, right?
Absolutely,
it was a hell of a match. That was one of the better matches. Was that triple threat between he and Moose?
Absolutely, he's not going to show up again, and if he does, then he's regressing. So, all right. You know, nothing. But overall, my thoughts on the show, just like I said, I'm like kind of what we alluded to earlier. I am not surprised that the number was what it was because the show was what it was.
Isn't that an indictment though, that a guy that was huge because of TNA and gave TNA a lot of like hype in Joe Hendry, but isn't there anymore, won a triple threat match on a TNA pay-per-view?
I think it's very funny how anybody with any sort of like name value or IWC value or marketability, if you want to call the IWC, value, they're in TNA is already gone to WWE besides the Hardys.
Which are every company product at this point. They've been everywhere, so like they're really not even TNA guys. They're just legends,
But I mean, Santana is not going back to AEW at all.
No.
Ever, probably. He hates AEW. He's made that very, very clear. So Santana's a perfect fit for TNA and WWE because he's got nowhere else to go.
Are you okay? How excited are you for Mike Santana?
I think Santana's a fantastic worker. I think he's reinvented himself with this gimmick and his new character, and I like it. I think it could do very well. It has done very well in TNA. I think it could do very well in NXT and possibly WWE. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we don't talk about because it is what it is in terms of like Mike's. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I want him to stay. I want him to be the man in TNA. I think they need to continue to build this company around him right now. I think that right now is a great time to do it.
Who wants to stay in TNA when they know all the boys and girls, for the most part, they say it without saying it, are in bed with WWE. TNA is. So, I mean, you mean to tell me anybody on that roster gets a call from WWE that they're not immediately going? I mean, we're lying to ourselves.
Yeah, we're lying. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
I mean, Santana's a very good character, but and I'm with you, Dev, but he doesn't want to just stay in TNA. I could promise you, if WWE came calling and they're like, hey, we'll give you a mid-card run, maybe a singles championship, he would be gone. Gone.
I like him. I've always liked him. I love his mic.
This isn't a bash on Mike Santana. Mike Santana
it's not a bash. It's not a bash. It's just I want him. I like where he's at because he feels like the man. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I am wrong. Probably am wrong, right? If he were to go to WWE, I feel like he wouldn't then be the man. He would be a man amongst them.
He'd get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Speaking of lost in the shuffle, where do we think Tommaso Ciampa goes when his contract is done? Does he go to AEW or does he go to TNA?
Home.
Well, I said 2 companies, Drew, and you said 100%. So can you
AEW?
Okay.
AEW.
Is that a scoop or a feeling?
Tommaso Ciampa fits AEW like a glove.
But a lot of people do. And how many people do you want them to sign? Will Ciampa get lost in the shuffle?
Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are 2 guys that I would love to see both in singles capacities and tag teams in AEW. They fit that mold. I'm just going to say this, and I'm sure people are going to go nuts with it. They'll clip it, whatever else. I don't care.
Or I'll clip it later for you.
The stuff with the Rascals, okay? Trey Miguel, probably a very nice human being, but I will be flat out honest with you. I know some of his work, but I did not. The name value that he got coming out of all of this, which is unfortunate what he said 6-7 years ago, whatever, I get it. I didn't really know Trey Miguel like that, okay? And you could sit back and be like, not a true wrestling fan. I don't give a shit.
Drew doesn't know ball.
Right. That's what people are going to say. But at the end of the day, a lot of you probably couldn't name 4 matches that Trey Miguel had as a singles competitor. Okay. So stop. So you can't tell me that this Trey Miguel stuff is such a big deal. And I didn't need AEW to sign the Rascals. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
All of them at once.
Wesley, dog would sign him in a heartbeat. And I understand that there's other people, and I understand they wanted to come back together as a package and all this other stuff, but I don't know, man. Trey Miguel seems like a really good dude. Great. He seems like a good wrestler, but I can't name you 4 Trey Miguel matches.
And let's bounce off what we talked about last week. Are these guys getting 5-year contracts, or are they on a shorter deal?
I think
how much talent can you acquire with only 4 hours of TV time every week?
Jordan and Juice, are you big Trey Miguel guys?
I couldn't name you 1 match Trey Miguel's had, but that doesn't
mean I mean, no. Let me stop.
You make it sound like the internet took it, and I get it. Everyone like it. What happened is probably
used to be the internet darling thing, but these guys, no offense, are not Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, CM Punk of back then, when everything they talked about was real, and those guys did become what they were supposed to be.
And to the internet's credit, I will align with them that there's been other things that people who are active competitors in the company right now, both on the announce team and active wrestlers, have done and said that are far worse than what Trey Miguel has done. So I get your outrage, but let's stop pretending that AEW signed Randy Orton and then fired him. All right? Because that's not what happened. It's not what happened. Trey Miguel is a good dude. Probably going to make a lot of money. Probably may be back with AEW. I don't know. But his name recognition went through the roof this past week. And I had no idea who he was.
Which is ironic considering his name recognition only got bolstered by negative things. And we all 3 are agreeing that we've never heard his name in positive recognition for a match.
But WWE and TNA had no problems using Trey Miguel. Okay.
Well,
no problem. But AEW has a problem. WWE, I should say WBD has a problem. I don't know.
I think that's so. I think somebody is just something will. I think he'll be back. Just long, to make a long story short, so I don't ramble. I think he will. I think something was just flagged, and it's just like, oh, okay, hey, we have to, do our due diligence in that manner, in that aspect. I think because there are people or maybe certain protocols within the company that they have to do that. Like, look here, we have to. But if you ask me, given what he said and, the response coming out, I think give him a second interview, give him a third interview, whatever. I think because if you do your research, you'll find that, he seems to be an all right guy. But I think he'll be back. It's not but like you said, this isn't like we signed Randy and then fired him, And
I get that the internet and people in general just want to blow outrages and they want to have this hot take and everything else like that. And more people were focused on how big of bullshit it was that such and such in person is employed and this guy's not. For me, I'm sorry. I wish him the best, but I don't fucking know him. I don't know him on a wrestling level. I don't. And maybe I don't know ball. Maybe I don't. But I'm just saying, I don't know him. So I'm not going to make a big deal about this.
Is he good? Have I seen some highlights and stuff like that? Have I done my research? Absolutely. Is he cool? Is he a hooper? Yeah. But like, also, AEW isn't like missing a boat here.
I could sit back and lie to everybody and say that I know this person and that person and this guy's I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry. I don't know 2 singles matches that Trey Miguel took place in. I don't. So I'm not going to make a huge deal about this. Do I think it sucks? Yeah. But I don't have all of the facts, and neither do any of you watching this right now. Besides, if there's somebody who's watching this who's in it. But I mean, come on now. Come on.
And someone in the chat who they said that it wasn't higher ups that fired him. It was Tony Khan. Is that what was reported?
How the hell do you know that?
They don't. That's why I brought it up. They don't know that.
Podcaster put it out there?
Per Fightful, it was a WBD decision.
Which is reminiscent of the Jay Briscoe thing, if we recall.
Jordan, you know you're a close friend of mine, and I love you. But anything and everything can be manipulated.
100%.
Okay?
100%. I agree with you.
The double standard thing doesn't make any sense to me, because if you're going to do it for one, you got to do it for all, especially with the network. So, I don't know. I don't care.
I just love
bad for the guy, but I
just love the matter of fact that people go, well, no, it was this reason, or this person got fired by blank. They don't know.
Right. No, nobody knows. Nobody knows, because nobody's going to that's talking about it right now, because nobody's going to spill it. Do I have a theory? Sure. And they both go hand in hand. Okay. I believe that, yes, it was brought to WBD's attention on purpose. And I'll leave it at that. That's my theory.
You're saying it was Austin Theory?
What else we got? Saturday night's main event. What do you want to talk about?
We could talk a little Saturday night's main event coming up here in Montreal. Going to be interesting, a week out from the Rumble, but when you have 2 Rumble matches, a title match, and then presumably a 4th match, you want to spread out that card and give it to Saturday night's main event to make the most of that program. And right now we've got, I believe, what is it? Only 3 matches on this particular card?
I think that's right. Maybe 4.
Yeah. Right now we've got Cody and Jacob Fatu in a singles match. Rio, which is Rhea and Io Sky versus Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez for the WWE Women's Tag Titles. And then the big one, Fatal 4-Way to determine Drew McIntyre's #1 contender for the Royal Rumble WWE title match. Randy Orton, Trick Williams, Damian Priest, Sami Zayn. Is there a chance Kevin Owens returns and ruins it for Sami Zayn?
Very, very possible. I will say this. It's possible that anybody could return.
Sure.
But I will say this. I'm going to let Jordan go first here. But the Cody Rhodes Jacob Fatu match is interesting. So is this feud, in my opinion, because Jacob Fatu, unless this has been addressed and I missed it, Jacob Fatu went after Drew McIntyre first, and then then went after Cody, and Drew was able to get out of the cage. Have they ever addressed who the attacker was on Fatu?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's kind of interesting, because I think they're trying to get a temperature check here. Okay, people believe it's Cody, and we could get Cody to be a heel. I don't think that's the way, but it seems to me like Jacob went after Drew first. So I would assume that Drew's the attacker. But Jordan, I'm going to let you talk about this. I'm going to go with Cody, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
So, if we're just talking about the Jacob Cody match, I think Cody's going to win this at first. At first, I thought maybe Jacob will pull it off, but no, because Drew's a heel, Jacob's a heel, or tweener-ish kind of, really. But I think there was a report about something about Cody saying that he feels better about, chasing than having the title right now, essentially.
I've said that on this very program.
Right. Again, never wrong this early. So I think Cody will win just for that reason alone, to give him another reason to chase. For another reason for you to believe that he'll win the Rumble, even though he probably won't. We all know who'll win that. The Beast, Brock Lesnar.
Although the betting favorites from my bookie say Roman Reigns.
Who predicted that Roman would win that Rumble? Some bald idiot with no sources.
That's right.
Really
Wow. You had me in that first part of that
that
sentence was a dead on accurate bald idiot with no sources.
But no, the whole card, it seems like it seems like the formula for Saturday's main event is about four to five.
Jordan, we know what this is, brother.
Right.
There's no football on Saturday. There's no college nor pro. NBC would like to pop a rating and do some numbers, throw some of that wrestling on there.
So let's do that. So therefore, I don't know. There's possibility of returns for that reason alone. They're in Montreal. We all know, there's a certain Canadian that may come back. So
He's been out for 10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, since Chamber. Yeah, that was that.
But do we really I know we're not talking about the match per se right now, but do we really want to see Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn run it back for the umpteenth time?
I think
only if it's for a world title at WrestleMania. That's the last match that they have not done yet for the stakes like that. Other than that, I agree.
It seems as if, again, this is what I was kind of hinted at. I want to say it was like a month ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that it was going to be Randy and Cody at the Rumble. And they switched it because I believe Cody and Drew were kind of like trying to figure out what was the best path for both of them. Cody felt like he needed to chase, so they changed direction. I could easily see this being, I don't know how we get here, but I could easily see this being a triple threat where we get Randy and Sammy versus Drew at the Rumble. Keeps Randy out of the Rumble, which they originally had planned. And Sammy going into Saudi Arabia, not winning the Rumble, everything else like that, but he's in a major match with the potential of winning the World Championship could work. I don't know how we get there in a fatal four-way. It's not an elimination match. So it can't be, we're down to Randy and Sammy and then Kevin pops up. It could be something where Sammy is about to pin Randy. The referee's about to count the three and clearly would have hit the three, and they do something. Then you could just be like, all right, we're going to just put these final two in because that was what was going to happen. I don't know how they play that story out. I really don't. I don't. But we're a week away from the Rumble. And the lackluster build for this has been crazy. Hopefully we get some answers on Saturday.
I'd like to see Orton somehow win this match, maybe even take it off of Drew, and then you could get Cody either winning the Rumble, which I know people would be upset about, but winning the Chamber even, and getting Cody Randy that way, where Cody's chasing his.
The reason why they won't give it to Randy, because then Randy will have the same as John Cena, and he won't.
He's at 15. I believe.
He'll have more than Triple H. He'll pass Triple H with his next one.
Does he not have 16? He's at 15?
No, Triple H and Orton both have 14. So
14,
the next one that Orton gets will be 15. So
okay. Because I thought that's one of the So if that's the case, then yeah, I could see where Randy.
Which poor Drew though, if that's the case, Drew being another transitional champion.
Oh, Drew, again, never wrong. Just early, Drew's on his way out, brother.
On his way out of what?
He only signed 3 years. Remember,
Drew McIntyre is not going anywhere.
It's my crazy prediction.
I think your crazy prediction was Brock Lesnar winning the Rumble.
When that contract is up, don't be surprised if Drew Galloway makes an appearance somewhere. That's all I'm saying.
Can we bring that up? There we go. This bald Randy.
Yeah,
I'd be here for that.
Yeah, well, I've said that the only way you could get Orton to truly be a heel again is by punting Cody. That's the best way to trigger that heel Randy Orton that people believe in, by kicking.
He has no reason to punt Cody right now. What is the reason to turn heel?
They can come up with plenty of things.
You know what would be interesting?
They have a tied-in story since 2009.
Is if Randy were to come out during, I don't know. This is too, it's kind of, if Randy were to
Come on,
come
let's hear it.
out
You don't know
during
ball.
the Cody Fatu match, right? And unfortunately get Cody disqualified or cost him the match or whatever. Okay?
Yeah.
And then Cody shows up in the 4-way and ends
which
up
is no DQ. So you could do whatever then.
Costing Randy. And then that's how you get to the triple threat. And then Cody, because Cody's already in the Rumble. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, I think the Fatal 4-way, which we'll talk about right now, the tag team title match, I'm going with Rhea and Io. I don't need to keep harboring that. Randy, Trick, Damian Priest, and Sami Zayn. Look, to your point, Jordan, I'm happy that Trick is in this match. I'm happy that Trick is getting the opportunity to be in a main event spot. Trick is a dog, all right? But this is a 2-horse race, in my opinion, and that is Randy and Sami, unfortunately, for Trick Williams and Damian Priest. That's just my opinion. Agree. What winner we get, I don't know. But Drew versus Sami would be very good, and it would put a lot of heat on Drew McIntyre if he were to beat Sami Zayn at the Royal Rumble. It could also be that thing where Sami keeps getting closer and closer to winning the big one, and a year later in Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania, he finally does. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think this is a 2-horse race, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn. Tough for me to pick. I'll let you guys pick.
I'm picking Randy Orton. I'd like to see him do it. I don't know. Randy Orton is we talk about the Saudi shows always wanting nostalgia and whatnot. Randy Orton's a current member of the roster, but he's got a hell of a lot of nostalgia. And I think it's a very easy, you want to get Drew McIntyre over as a heel, and you don't want anybody to have any chance of the Saudis booing him. Put Randy Orton in there, and they will unequivocally make Randy Orton the biggest babyface. So I'd like to see that match. And then, like you even to your point, Drew, no matter when it would happen, just keep beating Sami, and eventually he'll get that shot. Because I think that's the next big moment is Sami winning that world title. They've done it already with Cody.
And they could do it.
Sami's next.
They could do it where Sami, I'm getting my opportunity, and the fans are going to be like, holy shit, this guy might win the world championship. And then he loses in Saudi, and then it comes full circle. And at WrestleMania next year, he ends up winning it.
Why does loss always have to come before success? Like, I know that's a life
win every match. What are you, Hulk Hogan?
Professional wrestling, dude.
You got to lose. You got to always lose.
But the first big one, you always have to lose because, the reason why
Sami lost to Roman in Montreal.
That's what I'm saying. So in this particular case, I think we're pull the trigger.
Nah, dog, they got to tell a story. They got to have the emotional connection. What is going to make people want? Sami Zayn beats Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble. First of all, how he does it is very important. But all of a sudden, where does Drew go from here? He just lost to Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
There's no underdog story there. If Sami wins on Saturday Night Main Event,
the underdog story is it's Sami Zayn. The stigma of being like, holy shit. Sami Zayn's not supposed to do this.
But if you shoot off all those rounds, what do you got going forward? What do people have to look forward to? What are they going to tune in for?
They tune in for Cody stepping up and challenging him, and Sami Zayn overcoming Cody. They tune in. There's a way the bumbling babyface then becomes one of my favorite.
Look at Road Dogg here. If Sami beats, Randy Orton Drew McIntyre and Cody, who the fuck is left?
Check me out. One of my favorite animes of all time is called Hajime no Ippo, right? It is the story about this bumbling, nerd who becomes one of the greatest boxers of all time, right? And he loses, but then goes on this amazing, crazy win streak, and you garner win for him. You garner love for him.
Story in one episode?
No, they literally told the story over years. But here's the thing. Sami's story he's already had the strife. He's already had the shortcomings. Now, if we pull the trigger, you continue the story of, okay, how does Sami continue to keep doing it? And he has
that can happen when he wins it eventually, but I just don't think that, like, for Sami to win the world title, I think you're going to have to make it a bigger deal than just winning the Royal Rumble.
Well, how many times did Drew get screwed? He got screwed out of the championship, and then he finally won it. I mean,
And look
they got to
how-
tell a story, Jordan.
I think that form of storytelling is doing, and you can't keep doing it when it comes to because it's the WWE way. Like we do it all of the time. We're
It's
like
not
we're
bad.
They're gonna do it with Will. I mean, they're gonna do it with Ospreay. Just so you know, they're gonna do it again. Ospreay's probably gonna win the Owen, come back, win the Owen, and beat whoever the champion is at All In.
So you don't. So this coming year, you don't think Will Ospreay's a champion?
I just said he's gonna win the Owen.
Yeah.
He's gonna challenge it All In, and he's gonna win
At Wembley.
So like what he's had zero shortcomings. Will Ospreay's been on a great run. His only setback has been
he's had world championship opportunities. He's lost them, and then he got hurt. So redemption.
Yeah, but that's one of his biggest setback has been his injuries, not his losses in the championship. Versus Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes' biggest moments have been sitting at the podium and his arms up, and he lost and then winning.
Well, I mean, I don't think Tony Khan, when he envisioned Will Ospreay's run, was like, we got to get you hurt for 9 months. I don't think that was it.
Granted, yes, but my point being is
you got to make the best of it.
But we're building someone up to chop them down just to build them up again. Like, pull the trigger.
You got to tell. Listen. I'm fully with you. It's your opinion. You're not wrong, but I'm just telling you need to tell stories. Otherwise, people don't tune in. Why am I investing in this character or this storyline? Why? Well, I don't remember that he lost those ones. WrestleMania 40, like he conquered Gunther. Cool. That was a great story. But what have they done since that with him? I don't remember any of that shit, dude. I don't.
But I think that's just another microcosm in the wider problem of WWE storytelling, to be honest with you. In wrestling trope and storytelling.
All right, how about Hangman? Like they told a story with him, Swerve and Hangman, the redemption arc, everything with Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley was beating up everybody, and people were losing their minds about it.
But no, when I say that, I'm saying there's rarely, and this is one of the major, differences in how they tell stories. Rarely does, when AEW builds up a guy and you feel like they're going to win, 9 times out of 10 they win. WWE is one of the rare companies that will build a guy up and you feel like he's going to win, and they don't, just for the swerve part.
Yeah, but because there's going to be a second time around, because Sammy, this won't be Sammy's first time. He lost in Montreal,
and that's fine, and that's fine to have. But like, that's the thing. We know it's like it becomes the next time he wins, he's going to win it all.
Well, they got it.
I don't believe.
Next time he goes, he's gonna win it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's.
I get what you're saying, Jordan. But for me, it's like, I was probably one of the few who thought that Cody should have lost at 39, and I will tell you that moment at 40, not only for my 8-year-old at the time son, but for a lot of people that I was there with at WrestleMania, that WrestleMania 40 win was like I'd never seen people like attach themselves to a character so emotionally. With that win, it was crazy. And had they pulled the trigger at 39, I don't know if you get that at 40. If my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. I understand, but it's just I don't know.
I think it's a rarity, though. I think that's what makes Cody's character and why his chase is so important, and why he literally relinquished, and for lack of better, kind of said, "Hey, I'd rather chase." I think because Cody and his character and his story is built for that, right? And to you guys' credit.
Babyfaces always should chase, in my opinion. Go ahead.
And I think this particular babyface, when we're talking, because I think Sami Zayn and that kind of buckling babyface is sort of like Cody in that aspect, in that regard. And so I will say, yeah, I think he's better on the chase. So yeah, let him lose and then build him back up.
But if you're sitting at a meeting, right, and we're just going to use this as an example, and I think if it was done the right way. I guess there is no really right way. This is my opinion of the right way. Let's preface that. If I'm Tony Khan says to me, all right, you want to make Will the world champion? I need you to book me a year of Will Ospreay world championship matches and feuds. The way you're describing things is let's just put the title on somebody and then we'll figure it the fuck out. I just don't think that can work.
Well, no. If I have a year to put to with Will Ospreay, then I have 3 months to garner sympathy. I have another 3 months to build up, credibility. And then I have 3 months to pull the trigger and give him
Perfect.
a title.
I said a year from now. What has Sami Zayn done the past 6 months that you remember besides
And
wrestling
that-
John Cena?
And then that's the problem I'm saying with WWE is that they don't really we know exactly what's going to happen with Sami Zayn because they've kept him kind of cool and quiet. And it's like, it's very formulaic, very, very formulaic, which kind of goes to something a question that I have for you, which we can touch on if we have time. But
sure.
It's the unreal stuff. And because you touched on
they allow you to see what they want you to see. Last year's sympathy character was Abyss Parks. Now it's Road Dogg, and people are bashing him and all this other stuff. And then other people are like, I'll lay off him, and all this other stuff. I can't believe this is how creative meetings go. Bro, they allow you to see what they allow you to see. I mean, come on.
I mean, they had
not you. I'm talking about people.
They had a part in the show where they had Ron Cena come up to Bruce and Triple H and Gorilla, and Triple H is like, "All right, John, you ready to go?" Oh, wait, that's not John. It's Ron. Like they had like a scripted bit in Gorilla for the sake of Unreal. Come on. Yeah. It's like they'll show you whatever they want to show you.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like
all work.
However, Jordan, back to you, the stuff like Unreal stuff. They allow you to see what they allow you to see. You like somebody's booking character-wise. You don't like some. That's fine. That's what makes the world go round. I'm all for it. I think one thing that we can agree on, which I do want to talk about before we get out of here, is we have an unfortunate situation in Texas, which we talked on at the top of the show. Thank you for the over 700 people who are watching us live. Collision has been canceled in Dallas. And I think this brings up a point which me and you talked about privately, and I want to get this in before we get off the air. The roster's huge in AEW. It's long, and that's why when people were talking about the Rascals and everything else like that and all these other people, I think AEW should focus on signing people that they're going to maximize returns on in terms of giving them the most equity that a wrestling company or promotion has, which is television minutes or time, programming time. And for me, Collision in that Saturday time slot is a death nail. It really is. And I have openly discussed how they should move it. And I'm going to make another suggestion, and I hope this is clipped, and I hope it makes the rounds, and I hope it gets to whomever it needs to get to. I believe Collision should go to 90 minutes or an hour and be on Sundays from 7 until 8 p.m. Well, it'll be my time, Central Time. So I'm going to say Sundays from 8 to 9 Eastern. I understand that a lot of people, it's different than it was in the 2000s. Give them the Sunday Night Heat time slot, because at the end of the day, and tape the sucker, tape it. They used to tape Sunday Night Heat before Raw and sometimes before SmackDown. There'd be a match or two on Raw. There'd be a match or two on SmackDown. Tape it. And I say this because it's a cost-cutting measurement, but I will tell you that I believe there are more people who are going to be in front of their televisions on a Sunday night at 7 or 8 o'clock than there would be a Saturday. Not to mention football season's over. And half those matchups on Sunday Night Football, they're not bad, but they're not great. So move Collision. It'll help the ratings. It'll help the intrigue, in my opinion. And you could give people the opportunity, give Collision the time, that the slot that I'm asking for, and give these people who would not normally be featured on Dynamite those matches. And some people say, well, the network wants 2 hours of content. Make Dynamite 2.5 hours. You're going to tell me that people wouldn't tune in? They would. I wouldn't mind that with Collision, especially if it's going to be taped. Yeah. Then it doesn't matter when you air it. And I've had people fly into my DMs and say Collision being taped would suck because we'd already know SmackDown was taped for 10 years, 15 years. Get out of here. Go ahead.
I mean, if it's taped, for me, I think all you have to do is just make sure that there's no spoilers, and we live in an advent world where people don't respect that, and so that would be the only real drawback. But I think even then, I think for one, you touched on something what I've been pushing for. I think Dynamite needs to be 2.5 hours, if not 3. It just 2.5 hours allows you. Me and you talked about this privately, Andrew. You can do the last half hour commercial free. Something like that.
That should be something that they focus on. Is
what I'm saying?
Some commercial free in the last. How many main events have I watched of Dynamite in the past year where they're like, it's like that's close to being over, and like we got one more break.
Yeah, I told Jordan this. I said I would make Dynamite 2.5 hours, and those last 30 minutes are commercial free.
Yeah,
and I would have Collision be an hour
and stream it on AEW 1
and make it Sunday night. And again, a lot of people are up in arms about this, especially with the WBD Netflix deal. And people are like, well, what is the AEW going to do? All this other stuff. AEW will find some place to have their television programming. But, I mean, Dynamite making that last half an hour, 30 minutes, and stretching 2 hours and 30 minutes isn't going to crush people. People are still going to tune in. And Sunday night works. People tune into these podcasters and these review shows. Immediately after, you're going to tell me they're not going to watch an extra 30 minutes?
Dude, if you can watch a Joe Rogan 4-hour podcast, if you can listen to Joe Budden for 3 hours, if you can listen to us for an hour and a half, appreciate you. Thank you. Then you could sit for an hour tape show or 2.5 hour live show, right? It's not going to. And as far as being there live, you just move the time up, a little bit early. Does it make it a little bit harder to tape ROH? Probably, but I think where you figure that out. I think maybe you tape on Saturday then, something like that.
So what? WWE did Sunday Night Heat before a pay-per-view.
If it's taped, it never matters.
You turn Collision into Tailgate Brawl. So you do Collision, Tailgate Brawl, Full Gear, Collision, Tailgate Brawl, whatever.
Like, you can do exactly what Sunday Night Heat did. You can have that version of Sunday Night Heat be live. Have 1 or 2 matches on the pre-show that Sunday Night Heat used to do. This isn't rocket science. Just because WWE used to do this doesn't mean it's something they shouldn't do. WCW ran Saturday night. Are we not doing things because WCW did them? This is not a knock at WrestleFish. I'm just saying people saying like, oh, they have Sunday pay-per-views. Okay. And
yeah, they make it, people make it, not to be at him, but like a lot of people just have this like thought of it's impossible to potentially change because something is a fixture. Okay, well, pay-per-views never really used to be on Saturdays, and now WWE's always on a Saturday.
You can't tell me that we all watch Collision live. We don't. There'll be more topical.
To be honest with you. Or I'm there live.
And people are like, tape shows sucked, blah, 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 blah. Here in the States, if you don't have a VPN, how the hell were you watching SmackDown? It was taped, bro. You can go get all the results these past 3 weeks. Like, give me a break. You can't tell me that more people would not be watching AEW Sunday Night Collision than they would be on a Saturday. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. And for all the people panicking about the WWE or the WBD Netflix merger, how AEW is going to die and it's over and that's not
going to go to YouTube.
YouTube. It's not going to happen. AEW is not going anywhere unless they want to go somewhere.
No.
Right?
No.
Got any questions? Anything you guys want to talk about? Any final comments before we head out of here?
I have just a couple things. I felt that that Belfast crowd for Raw was incredible. I'd love to see them do a PLE there. And I know it's early. It's very early. But my WWE match of the year thus far is Finn Balor versus CM Punk. That was one hell of a match. So we'll see what Saturday night's main event in the Royal Rumble have, if they could, exceed that. But that's my early pick for match of the year. Drew, you brought it up like a Bret Hart match. These smaller guys, you're going to have to transform your title scene. And this is what the World Heavyweight title in this specific lineage was for.
I thought Punk's last 2 championship matches were very, very, the psychology, everything that went into it was just awesome.
Which match are you talking? You're talking the match with Balor
Baker and Balor. They were both.
Even his match against Gunther at SummerSlam last year was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that Punk is
he's found another gear. in this style of.
And it goes back to, I saw a clip circulating where Shawn Michaels said it like, you don't need to give your whole arsenal in the first 10 minutes.
No, save it for the last 10 if you have to.
Yeah, and like make the crowd like come up, down, back up. The suspension of disbelief. Like my kid was like, I think Balor's going to win this. I think Breaker's going to win this. That's when you know you got a good match. Jordan, go ahead.
Well, really, the last just things that I had, I just really want to thank you two gentlemen on this endeavor, and the fans, the supporters as of late. We've been really hitting a roll and stride here as of late on No Dirt, and I just really want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys. I love working with these two gentlemen here. Very friendly with the both of them, but I consider them friends. And this has been a great journey, and we've been doing very well lately. And I just want to say. I think I can speak for these two. This will be the only time I do so. Thank you guys. We really,
of
really
course,
appreciate
man. You don't have to thank me. It's always a blast doing these shows with you.
Yeah,
and
I love doing these shows.
Question: We'll formulate it to the group, and then we'll get out of here. What two matches do you think we're going to get for women and men at WrestleMania?
Probably, let's just say the world title. I think that's what they mean.
Well,
Each world title match for.
I had stated this before, and Fightful probably got confirmation and ran with it. I think you're 100% getting AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. I think that's happening. If we're talking about the World Heavyweight Championship for the women, I'm going to go with, I think Liv Morgan is destined to win that thing at WrestleMania. How we get there, I don't know, but I'm going to go with Liv. For the men, I think Roman versus Punk for the World Championship. How about that?
I wouldn't mind if now it all depends on if Seth gets back in time. I wouldn't hate if they ran that triple threat match back again, but this time for the championship.
I truly believe that the after the Rumble,
the dynamics have changed between the three.
The programming for WWE is going to be which championship is Roman going to go after? That's where I think we're headed.
Oh my God. Great.
I've obviously, Becky, AJ Lee, but I would like to see AJ Lee more on television, but
all she has to do is be at the Rumble next week, and there you go.
Yeah. So I would like to, if she's going to be in the Rumble, don't let her be. I would like to see her be in the Rumble. Give me 20, give me 18. Have her come in at 18, throw some people out, let her last till the final four. Maybe she wins it, whatever. But I see that. But honestly, for Mania, I don't really know where they're going for Mania. I don't. This is one of those years where it's like I don't really know.
It's tough to say, especially when you have Rollins on the shelf, because they want to run things back with him and Punk, because Punk's champion, but you also have Breaker that could break away. Something we didn't talk about. They had a segment with Paul Heyman and Logan Paul where Paul said, "Oh, that was the big man calling," and Logan Paul was like, "Well, who are you talking about? Are we just assuming it's Brock Lesnar, and then he's on his way back in the fold, or could that be?" Some people speculated.
Your Royal Rumble winner, Brock Lesnar?
No, some people speculated, and I'm just saying I didn't agree with it, but some people speculated Vince. Some people speculated The Rock.
I want everybody to know when Brock Lesnar wins the Rumble, I'm gonna come on this show and be insufferable.
Fine, that's fine. You deserve that. That would be a call of all calls. I think Brock's going to wrestle Gunther. But Jordan, why don't you tell everyone where they can subscribe, and follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at slick_flair91. Also with the Wrestle Collective, that's Dub C Worldwide. Please join us later. We have a special start time today at 6 Eastern, 5 o'clock Central of the podcast today, talking about our wrestling hell and wrestling heaven. What got you into wrestling? What got you out of wrestling? So please join us for that. It's going to be a very special one. 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern. Dub C Worldwide, the Wrestle Collective YouTube channel.
There you go. Juice.
At Juicy Steen on the artist formerly known as Twitter. And we've got Saturday night's main event predictions on the Juice Box this week. Of course, Royal Rumble predictions next week. And I'm sure we'll be discussing the Royal Rumble next week in great detail here on No Dirt, Just Dialogue. One more question for the both of you. We saw a vignette for Obafemi on Raw. Is that where he's going to be, or will he be on SmackDown?
Yes.
Raw. I tend to agree. I think they want to load that up, and you got to have Obafemi on Raw if you're going to make room for what the hell they give. I saw a name that they
Big Willie Hobbs might be on SmackDown.
That's what I was going to say. They trademarked. They trademarked. What was
Royce
it?
Keys.
Royce Keys. Is that him? Is that going to be Hobbs?
Get the Royce Keys, man.
No.
I actually don't hate that because he is built like a Rolls Royce. He's built like a car. Royce Keys is kind of cool. It'll grow on me. We'll see.
All right, we'll see. I'm Andrew Baydala. That's Jordan. That's Juice. Make sure you like, subscribe, and file. If I could say that. Final Bell Media. Make sure you hit the notifications so that when we go live, you will know. I appreciate everything. Make sure you follow me at Andrew Baydala. Make sure you guys do all the things that you do, which is comment, have discussions. Do not have arguments. There's no need for it. It's just professional wrestling. Enjoy yourselves. There's a huge difference between dialogue and arguments. Just have constant and it's so hard for me to take Twitter seriously at times because I think people just go at each other on purpose. But I just wish you all the best. Have fun. It's all subjective. And look forward to seeing you guys and girls next week as we preview the Royal Rumble. Check out the Wrestle Collective. Check out the Juice Box. I'm out of here. I appreciate you all. I appreciate Dev. I appreciate Hannibal, the Don, who else? Advocate,
Cat,
Blake Mitchmore. Who else was in here? I don't know. Rocky Red. Appreciate everybody. And again, wait and see what happens. I won't be watching TNA tonight. But I'm Andrew Baydala. That's Juice Springsteen. That is Jordan Carter. Catch you guys and girls down the road.